Hello everyone, welcome to my first build video. In this video, I will be showing you how I built my nightstand here. So this is going to be my new nightstand. This is a project I started, back in, honestly, January, February, and then I took a break from everything when all this COVID stuff started happening, and I just didn't come down here. But it's time to get back to the garage, get back to working. So we're going to be working on finishing this up. We're planning on putting a shelf up here. And what my original plan was, I was actually going to put a shelf here that attaches on the right side. Now, as I started thinking about it, this shelf isn't going to go out as far as here. It's only going to go about here. And I'm going to be using, I believe it's the 1x8. Either 1x8s or 1x10s, and then put 2x4s to support the back. Now, I'm afraid while taking this wherever it's going to go, that's not going to be able to be supported enough, and it's going to snap off. So we're actually going to kind of make this in two sections that become one. So for now, we're going to be finishing this part. So we're going to have to do the shelves, and I'm also going to have to put the plywood center here. Now, I kind of regret how I did this now, but we're going to make this work. There is one issue I noticed as I started coming back to this project. Everything is labeled except for this one piece here. So this one piece, I'm going to have to take out the pocket screws, and I glued it on. So I'm probably going to have to take it off. Let's see here. I'm probably going to end up using the jigsaw, but cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now I'm going to get this on my table. I don't think I'm going to be able to sand it even. I thought about sanding it even. Alright, so I decided I'm going to go for the sanding approach. So, oops, did I forget? You always forget something, right? There it is. I'm kind of glad I'm good. I'm looking at it. My original thought was I was actually going to put plywood on top of this. But can you tell me the issue with doing that? Probably because I didn't think about it. So if I do that, I also have shelves down here. Now, the idea was to cover all these shelves with all these 2x4s. I didn't leave enough gap room that I can fit a piece cut here to fit this. You can't fit it in. So instead, I'm going to put a little ledge here on the bottom, and I'm going to put the plywood on that, and the plywood I'm going to try and flush up with these 2x4 pieces. And honestly, I think it'll look kind of cool. So that's one of the reasons too, this kind of needs to be even. Also too, I did have to sand this. Some of these pieces are a little proud and everything, even though they're level. They're level enough for this to work. But we need to sand it down anyways and make it even. And this piece too has some ugly marks still, probably because I wasn't planning on making that a showable. And honestly, even in the back, you probably wouldn't see it as much, but let's do it. We have to sand it down anyway. So I got 60 grit on because I'm really going to have to work on this piece. I got my level here, and we're going to start, and this will probably be a time-lapse video on your end. So it might take a while on my end. It'll probably take like 30 seconds to a minute for you. Alright, so it's close enough. you can't really get with an Orbisano just close to the piece, so it does curve up a bit here. Not too concerned about that. It's just about level here throughout here. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it, and I might, have to touch up a bit more when we start putting the center plywood pieces in. We'll just have to see. But right now, I'm more happy with it than I was. I'm gonna continue sanding, just making everything even up a little bit more while we're here. Alright, so too, I started with the 80 grit. I am going to soften up the edges too while I'm on the 80 grit, and then keep softening the edges as we go up the sandpaper tree. I'm not sure if I ever checked this, so we're going to do it now. Oh yeah, even. That's what I want to see. That's one less thing I got to worry about. It can't hurt to double check. You know what? Actually, before continuing, I think I'm going to get this up on my workbench at this point. Okay, so we did 80 grit. Now we're going to move up to 120 grit. We'll keep going up the chain. Now, I'm not taking a lot of time sanding this because I already sanded it. I sand the pieces individually, usually up to 120 grit, right after I cut them and I get them the right size and everything. B, I honestly want to knock this out. So it might sound a little stupid or silly, but I want to get this done. And see, I actually kind of like beat up look. It's a look that I actually kind of embrace in a lot of my work. I don't want it to look crappy, but I like things that look like they've been through stuff. I think it gives it a better feeling to it. So I have no problem with it not being 100% perfect, especially with the stain I'm going to use. And I'm also probably going to burn this a bit just to bring out another look to it. Not going to super burn it, but probably something similar with what I do with my flags, which we'll be doing a video on the flags at some point. Alright, so that's going to end 120 grit. 120 grit is the last of like the sandpaper I consider to actually really do things structurally. The rest of it is just getting it smooth. So I'm just touching everything, taking one last look, making sure there's nothing very important I want to correct. Like I said, I'm not too concerned with being perfect. I want to tell a story. The story I'm kind of thinking with this one is, since me and my wife love the ocean, the sea, and stuff like that, and that's one of the reasons I chose out the stains I'm going to use. That this was something that was found on a beach somewhere, and maybe it was a crate or something like that, and you took it apart and put it back together. I mean, I know the 2x4s are pushing it, but it's all about your imagination. Use your imagination. If you're building something for yourself, be happy with it with yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. done, I am going to start cutting the plywood. Now, I believe I planned it so that all these would be exactly the same. I'm not sure. And even if I was sure I planned it exactly that way, which I probably did, doesn't mean it stayed that way. So I'm actually going to measure these squares individually just to get the dimensions down exactly. Actually, come to think of it, I probably didn't. They should be the same because I planned on cutting the 2x4s the same. But as I said before, I was planning on covering this whole area up. Now we're doing something different. So let's measure. All right, so that's. Now I should draw a picture before I start doing this, just so I can get it right. So we got. And 1/4. All right, so they all match. That's interesting. Wonder why. All right, so we got 18, 18, 18, and one side 18, 1/4. So that means I'm gonna have to draw points and draw that. That, or I can do just 18, 18, 18, 18. And that would give me some slop. I'm just wondering if it's going to leave me with abnormal looking crease, which I could always put in this back corner. So I actually like that idea. So I'm gonna start, even though it's like you need to build in some, it's got to be a little smaller to fit in. So I'm gonna do 18, 18, 18, 18, and I can always put the ugly piece down here and put it in the corner where the crack is, and honestly nobody's gonna see it where it's gonna sit. No big deal. So we're gonna give that a shot. I like that plan. That's a good plan. It's a good plan. I hope. Alright, so here we have our piece of plywood. But it looks like my bench table, well, it's because it's sitting on the bench table. I'll tell you what, I did have this on for a while just to increase the space of it a bit. Alright, so as we figured out before, 18, 18, 18, and 18 1/4. Now, with a piece this size, I'll be honest with you, I'm normally uncomfortable with cutting any large pieces on my table saw, especially a piece this big. So I'm gonna cut probably this way to that way, although we're gonna measure and find out exactly where it's gonna go. Where did I measure? I have 4 tape measures down here and they all vanish on me. Anybody else have that problem? Oh. Alright, so how long is this piece? Because there is an ugly end on this one, but the rest of it's pretty good. 8, 16, 32. Oh no, we're going to do 19. So that's 19,
So I think I'm only going to be able to get two pieces, right? 19, that's 20, 38, which will be here. So yeah, so we're gonna have to cut 14, or I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cut 2 peaches 19 inches wide. Alright, so that's one. What else? Oh shit. Had some blow off here, but that's okay. See. It's alright. That's the part we're gonna trim off anyways, right? Yeah, that's the part we're gonna trim off. So that's not a huge deal. No biggie there. No biggie there. Okay. And that's that. So we're going to take this out as far as we can. And we're going to turn it over and make the rest of the cut on the other end. Okay, so whenever my mark is not tight, what a tolerance is a little too much. So I'm just going to drop it a smidge so I can't see a line there and that. And we're going to try it from there. Oops. Alright, that'll fit. Now I just need to do 3 more. Or 2 more. Alright, that was the first one. So, this time I cut it down on the miter saw to a little bit over my mark, like I did the first time. And then I'm going to instead try and trim it up on my table saw here. That was a lot easier and a lot better fit. Oh yeah. So that's what I'm gonna do on this next piece, because that worked perfect. That worked absolutely perfect like that. So we're gonna do that on that last piece over there. I'm gonna, and in case you're curious, we're catching up, or I cut it out. I don't know. I'm getting it close on the miter saw, cutting it. And I could probably just do it now with a circular saw, but I don't feel like doing that. So I'm going to get close on the miter saw, and then I'm going to finish it off with the table saw. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is nice. Oh yeah. Alright, so we're gonna get sanding the plywood now. This plywood already came mostly sanded. What the heck got on this? It's like pencil marks or something. So yeah, this already came sanded, but it's like, I'd say it's an 80 grit sanding. Maybe it's 120. I doubt it. So I'm gonna do a light sand. For those of you who haven't sanded plywood before, and honestly, I will admit my experience is very, very lack. I think I did it one time. But I know from reading and learning and watching other videos, you know, you can eat through this top part very quickly. The thing about plywood is it has different levels. Each grain going in the opposite direction, they're glued together, which makes it very strong. Expansion and contraction are a huge factor with it either. But you can, I'm actually looking at this one piece here. It is extremely, extremely thin. It's like 1/8 of an inch. So I gotta be real cautious. I'm starting at 120 and I'm gonna jump straight to 220. And I actually think, since I got this piece of scrap here, I might just start with this real quick, just to get a feel and see what happens. If I destroy this, no big deal. If I destroy the others, then I gotta cut out a whole nother piece. I don't want to do that. Whoop. That took off very little, and the results were spectacular. I'm probably going to do it twice, but even so, it didn't take off enough to really get through, and the 220 is going to take off even less, so I'm not too concerned about it now. If it was like, 80 grit, then I might start worrying. Alright. Alright, we are done. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see the difference. This is what I love about sanding, the look it brings out, So this is what it looked like before. I don't know if you can see the yellow tinge to it. And this is after. Oh, I love it. Nice and smooth. Alright. Okay. So next part I'm gonna do, I think, is I'm going to do the underhangs or overhangs. I don't know what word would be for it. But pretty much we're gonna, since these are holes and these are designed to fit the holes, I'm gonna have pieces that run along here and here on that to hold this in place. Alright. Okay, so now I'm going to be attaching the under braces, or whatever you want to call them. So I tried making this spacer here. It's just 2 pieces of a scrap 2x4. This bottom one here should be the same. Let's see. No, it's not. Interesting. What did I do wrong? Maybe it's that one? Well, I meant to make it the same, but I didn't. And that's why you check. Double check. So, I'm going to take this back apart. I could still use one of the pieces. And what I'll probably do is, I'll probably set up a put something in the bins. Oh, why don't I use... That's a great idea. I'll be right back. I am going to use an actual scrap piece from Plywood. Dummy. I could have done that before. Why didn't I think about it? Alright. So, we need to... Now this other piece is kind of like level it with the top there. So that'll work just fine. Just going to do a rush job real quick on this. Because it doesn't really have to be exact. This is just kind of create a space. So I can figure out how far perfect, how far these need to go in. So hold on a second. I'm just gonna, alright, come with me if you want to. Oh, can do that. So this is a basic idea. Got the spacer, right? That goes there. And then you can put the piece behind it. And this way, if it isn't perfect, I can move it along. But this is where the bracer is going to go. So when I attach these pieces of plywood, they should be level with this piece. All right. All right. There we go. Alright, so now that we got those pieces in, all these pieces should lay flat and they should fit. Because I'm being paranoid, I mean, you've seen how much trouble I've had, but that's okay. Trouble is good. We figure it out and we work around the problem. I'm going to make sure all of these suckers fit. There's one. There's two. And the top piece. 3. How's it look? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like that. That looks good. I'm really, really happy with that. So here we are, a new day. So I was just thinking about how I'm going to attach these shelves. And I've literally spent the last hour just sitting here thinking about it, considering options. And the more I think about it, the more I think it seemed like a good idea at the time, but it's not going to be a good idea. The reasoning for that is, this is the way. The bed's going to be over here. This is the corner here. And this is the other corner. So, the bed actually is going to sit right along here. So it's going to be really close. Now, if I attach shelves down here, which I admit I think it would look cool, and I actually use these shelves though, it's going to cut down on what I could really put in here. I'm not going to be able to slide anything in and out easier. If there's something in this back corner, I'm really going to have to dig for it. The grain pattern isn't exactly going to match up. And honestly, some of the ways I was thinking about it would have to stick out to here. So I'm starting to think that instead of doing that, we're just going to make this a nightstand, and I can attach shelves to the wall later. So let's do this. So since this is all attached, I can't use any of the normal tools. I guess I could use a circular saw. I'm not quite comfortable with cutting it like that through there. So that shredded a little bit there, but that's okay. We'll fix that. Alright, so now we're over in this would be my like painting area. It's not much. Eventually I like to set up a ventilation system or anything, but pretty much it's a fold out table with a piece of plywood on it that has God knows how many things on it. And I'm hoping it's gonna like be a piece of art at some point. We'll see what happens with that. But we're over here. Now the stain I'm gonna use for this is actually one of my favorites. This one's from Home Depot Varathane. It's called Riverbed. With stain, you know, a lot of people use paintbrushes and stuff. I usually use just a rag, honestly, to put it on and then wipe it away. I usually have more of these gloves. Let me see if this one will fit. Oh yeah, this one's still good. I mean, this is water-based and stuff, but there is chemicals in it, so you kind of want to stay away from chemicals if you can. So we're just going to stir it up real good. I haven't used this in a while, so I hope it's still good. I got to make this as possible. And, I mean, I don't know. I find with, like, stains like these, they're very forgiving, if you ask me. I could be wrong. I could be doing it totally wrong. But I've seen some other stuff, like my wife's treasure chest. Future me, you might want to post a picture of that. I'm really happy with that. I'm thinking I'm actually going to make one that fits under. It won't be a treasure chest per se because it's not on the curb, but I was thinking of making a chest for this bottom portion here at some point. We'll just see what happens. We're just going to experiment with this and then see. Maybe we can improve it too in the future. Now it comes out like kind of this gray color. I don't know if this is going to look good on this like piece of plywood here, but you kind of wipe it away. I might have wiped too much away on that piece. Let me see. There we go. Even that, you can kind of see some of the wood marking in. I didn't really let it sink in though, and it is plywood, so it's a little different. But I actually kind of like that look too. And it kind of gives it like, I don't know, I think it gives it this feel like it's been underwater for some time or something. So we're just going to start throwing this on. the more you put on and the longer it sits, the stronger the stain's gonna be. So just wiping it down now. Some of it's just is already dried, and that's fine by me. I don't care. But as you're going through, if you find that maybe some section has a little too much, wipe it down. All right. I'm actually going to save that one for cleaning up the other one. Oops. So let me see. I got a little in my hands. I don't know what. So let me see if I can show you real quick. Can you see how that looks? Now just imagine that on the entire piece. I mean, that's pretty much how it looks right now, and I love that look. I don't care. I love it. So, all right. Okay, so we are back. I actually found a surprise in there. I forgot I had this. This is also by Varathane. Varathane. This is Caribbean. It's kind of like an offshoot of the blue. I got it, I think, for the same project I was talking about before, my wife's treasure chest. I don't think I actually used it on that one, but I did use it on something before, and it does give another oceanic look to it, or river look, or whatever you want to go for. So, I'm going to use this. Now, I will say, standing plywood can be, that's the hero side. Last time I tried it, this I actually don't have a lot of experience with. Last time I tried it, it didn't quite look right. But that was a long time ago, and I could just be remembering it wrong. Well, we're going to give it a try. I'm going to start off by trying to get it really thin on there and wiping it off. And we'll just have to see. There's actually a piece of plywood here, so I can, oops. I think that's going to work out all right. I might have to leave it on a little longer. Maybe that's going to be the trick. All right, so I got it nice and thick. I'm going to leave it on for about a minute, and we'll take it off and take a look at it. So, get ready for a really quick minute. Honestly, I kind of lost track of time, but I think it's been about a minute, maybe even a little longer. All right, so let's see here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was looking for. That is perfect. I am so pleased with that. So pleased. I don't know how you can, if you can see that or not, but super pleased. I see some streaks still. Try and clean those up as best I can. I might need to do multiple rags for this. Maybe have one rag for dumping it on, paying off, but oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Super happy with that. So I'll lean that one up there, and we're gonna do 2 more. All right, everyone. It's another day. I had to do some other stuff, personal work. Nothing major. Just been keeping up with other stuff. Everyone, it's another day, and we're continuing to work on this desk project. It's actually been a few days since I last recorded, but that's okay. Just trying to play catch up on other stuff. I'm trying to get these out regularly, but you know, with jobs and stuff and other stuff, you know, can't always do that. So, one of the things I forgot to do, and it doesn't necessarily need it, I personally like it. You know, I like to burn it a bit. Usually I burn it a bit before I stain, but we already stained. So we can actually do it afterwards. You just got to be a little careful. In my opinion, it's better to do it before, I find. But I've done it after before, you know. Stuff like this happens to me all the time. You know, I get rushing on a project. I'm sure everybody's been there wanting to get it done, and you miss a step. So we're just going to torch this a bit. I don't have anything big. I just have one of these Benzomatic with the lid. I usually just start, make sure you just make it random. Random's always the best. I'm going to do this corner here. And there's no right way or wrong way to do this. Obviously, you don't want to set it on fire. That's a given rule. But I just like to make it random. I kind of just do it until I'm happy. If you've never done this, you know, make sure you start, you know, with a side that you don't necessarily care too much about. I mean, you always care about most of the project, but, you know, like, make sure you do get a side that maybe not everyone will see, just in case you do make a mistake. And make sure you make all your mistakes happy mistakes, as Bob Ross would say. God, I love that guy. Oh, I know you can't see it from there. I'm going to get some close-up shots in a minute. But look at the wood grain and see what aspects you might want to accent in the wood grain. And sometimes burning it will make it pop a little more. Sometimes it won't. Like there's a little bit of a knot there and it's some really neat wood grain, so I'm just trying to get around it best I can. There's no that spot there, I wasn't too happy. And just take it slow. Just like with all this, you can always add stuff, but you can't take it away. find with the force with fire rises naturally on its own. So a way to do this is, you know, work with that. What I'll do in a bit here is I'll actually clip it on its side, and then I'll start doing these top pieces here. Now right here, let me see if I can get it closer here. Now there's a really interesting wood grain there, so I'm going to bring it out with the flame here. Hope you guys can still see. All right. Hey everyone. So I did have an error. Apparently I wasn't recording when I did the second part of the burning on these. But these have been burned, same way. Nothing special with those. I know with plywood it can be a little weird. But those actually came out just fine and dandy. So now we're gonna come to the part which honestly I'm kind of scared of the most. So here it is. We're gonna do polyurethane to seal it. Now I usually use the Polycritic spray bottles, but that can be kind of pricey and stuff with a project this size. Last time I did it, you know, it actually looked better. I think I jumped to conclusions on it, but I'm still kind of worried about it. This is one thing I haven't done before, but that's all right. We'll try something new. So this is interesting. This is a little different. This one, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see it without dumping it or anything. This one actually has a white, but it's supposed to be crystal clear semi-gloss. So it probably dries to that. And it's recommended to do it with a foam brush. So I do have some foam brushes here that I'm going to use. We just have to stir it. No, like this is where I'm really an amateur on this. I might be doing this totally wrong. If I am, let me know in the comments. You can laugh at me. Just be nice. Be nice to me. I'm trying something new. Now, at this point, I'm kind of just treating it almost like I would paint. Alright, it's another day. It hasn't been 24 hours. With this stuff here, after 24 hours, you do need to sand it. The reason I'm sanding it is this is going to be the final coat. I did do some pretty thick coat in the beginning, so I'm not too worried about it. And I know where this is going to be. It's going to be inside, so I'm not too worried about that. But I definitely want to get this down to 220 grit. Got it already loaded up. I am going to use my sander for this time instead of doing it by hand, but I'm turning it really low. It's not going to be going very fast because with these sanders you can chew up a lot really fast. I found when doing this clear coat. And even with the Polycritic, the spray spray can one. What I usually do is when I use those on my smaller projects, I'll actually hand sand them 2 times, and then on the third one I might use this, or I might just hand sand them again. That comes out really finer too, so it doesn't need as much love and touch. But this one does. I'm just going to stop right there. Now, I actually don't mind this. I'm actually going to continue doing it, but I can actually see I am pulling some of the finish off with my sander, which I'm okay with. I'm okay. I wanted to get that kind of beat up look of it. So, just something to consider. Even with it on its lowest setting, at the 220 grit, it's still pulling off a little bit here. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Maybe I don't have enough coats on it. Like I said, I know where it's gonna be. I'm not too worried about it. So we're gonna keep going. And I wanted to beat up look for this. So I was secretly kind of hoping this would happen, in all honesty. So I'm okay with that. We're gonna keep going with this. I'm just might move a little quicker. Just because I think I might have been moving a little slower too for it, but that just shows to show you this is on level 1 with a 220 grit, and it's pulling off this stain, even with two coats of the polyurethane. And I put on a really heavy coat the first time, and the second time I wasn't too concerned about it either. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to back up and see if what I did here, the whole beating up with the sander a bit, is looks good to me. See if I think any more is needed somewhere or any less. Well, you can't do less, dude. But just to get like a basic idea. And I think I'm happy with it. Let me just see here. We're just going to turn this corner here. This is the corner here. That's going to get the views. Yeah, I like that. And then, you can't even see it at that camera angle, can you? Let's see. Oh, you can sort of see it. Here, maybe I'll just get closer here and show you what I mean. So you see, like, this is one I actually purposely did. If I can zoom in, there you go. That's one I purposely did. Just to kind of give it a kind of a beat up look. But you can see kind of here a bit. And then I'll show you on this side. This is what's going to happen if you don't want it. This is what happens when you don't move quick enough using that. So you might want to just use a hand sander if you want it to be perfectly pristine. Now, I don't know. Now you see that white coating there? That is not from the well, it is from the polycritic, okay? But that's the result of the sanding. So that is a result of the sanding. That's what's going to happen when you do heavy duty sanding. In fact, it should happen every time. It didn't happen last time, probably because I didn't do it enough. But yeah. So we're going to have to clean that off. I wanted to try, you don't want to look at this anyways, but I did get it quite a lot of it off just by wiping it down. Looks really good now. We're going to go and do the final coat. But I gotta let. Well, I didn't use a super huge amount of water. You gotta let it dry off a bit. Voila! It does. Well, not done. This part is done. So I changed my mind, just because I'm worried about how this rubbed off here. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and do 4. It's actually probably gonna end up being 5 coats. Um, we did the third before. I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna sand this again, especially since I might change my mind and I might just do 4. I'm gonna hand sand this with a 220 grit. Now the 4th is done. Alright everyone, after months and months and months of procrastination, it's done. We ended up doing 4 coats of the polyurethane. I am very happy with it. It looks nice and shiny and beat up at the same time, which is my favorite. I love that. So we are going to be putting this up, and it's going to be my nightstand for years to come. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like, make sure you follow and subscribe, turn on notifications. If you enjoy games, make sure you check out my gaming videos as well. You can find those on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And my building videos like these, YouTube and Facebook only, as Twitch doesn't really have, any makers or builders, at least that I found. I don't know. But it really helped me out. I would really appreciate it. And since this is the day after Thanksgiving, I'm not sure how quickly it'll be posted, but I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy your holidays, and I hope you stay safe and stay well. Take care.